All right, joining me now is Congresswoman Tenney from New York. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Great to be on.
I want to talk to you about what's going on in New York with the mayor's race. I know you're not from the city, you're farther upstate, but what do you think about this mayor's race that's underway right now? We have a far crazy leftist, I don't even know if it's on the left, I think it's like beyond the scale, but what are your thoughts on that?
He's a Marxist anti-Semite. He believes in Marxism. He believes in taking over the means of production. He calls for a global intifada. Sadly, he's a member of the New York State Legislature in the Assembly, and I served there for 6 years. I left in 2016. But, it's a really dangerous proposition for New York City, which is already struggling with high crime rates. He's talking about basically living in dormitories, having the city run the
grocery stores.
Grocery stores.
Yeah.
Just tell that to people in my region who go to Wegmans every day. They're not going to like that, even down here. But I mean, it could be potentially a real problem for New York State. Now, New York City, as much as many of us wish we could cut it off from the rest of the state, from upstate, New York City is an economic driver, and if he's going to drive the economy of New York into the ground, you're going to see it reverberating upstate, and it's going to be very, very bad for us economically.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you about is the lingering impact, because obviously you're not in the city, but people commute to the city from all across New York. They take the train or what have you, and so I think the impact would be significant as well. Switching up here to Washington, Big Beautiful Bill is the one big beautiful bill is through and passed. Was that encouraging for you? Are you hopeful that we'll start to see more of the president's agenda come to fruition now?
Well, absolutely. I serve on the Ways and Means Committee, so we've been working on this one big beautiful bill for almost 2 years now, traveling all over the country, coming up with the provisions we need to maximize what we can do for our middle and lower income taxpayers, especially small businesses who drive our economy. Now, I'm a small business owner in upstate New York. I was here for the original Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, President Trump's first tax cuts in 2017. Nothing has been better for our upstate communities than those provisions in that bill. We've made it better. We've added a lot to it. We've been able to get more out of reconciliation. Miraculously, Speaker Johnson was able to get it over the line. President Trump used all of his clout to get this done between the House and the Senate, very narrow margins. But, interesting, the Democrats don't want to help us. They don't want tax cuts for people. They don't want to see the child tax credit increase. They don't want to see us unleashing American energy. They don't want to protect our communities. But this bill is really going to be extremely helpful. We're not done. There's more work to be done. And we're hoping to get into more details. But there's only so much we can do in one bill. We were limited by the reconciliation process because not a single Democrat cares about tax cuts for the people they serve. And so we had to do it without them. And we're going to have to do another reconciliation probably sometime later this year to fill in the gaps on some of the things we didn't get. But I think the impact is going to be good and it's going to be strong. And the fact that we did it early as opposed to 2017, I think is going to make a difference. And I'll tell you, some of these permanent tax provisions, especially for small business owners and especially for some of our taxpayers in upstate New York, are going to be a godsend for them.
Well, and I'm glad you talked about how there's still more work to be done, because the argument that I hear from people a lot is this bill didn't do enough. It wasn't perfect. And maybe that's true. It wasn't perfect, but there's still more work to be done, and you recognize that, and you are pushing ahead to get the rest of the work done.
Well, what's amazing? I'm in my fourth term. I was a lawyer by trade. I ran our family business. Never thought I'd be doing politics. I've only been at it since I was, in my early 50s, and I'm in my early 60s now. I've never voted for a perfect bill, but that's part of the nature of politics. But this is as good as the bill could be for us. Some things I wanted in it didn't get 100% on what I wanted. I would, certainly would love to see us do more on debt and deficits, but we did a lot. We did more than we've ever done in the history of this nation. $1.6 trillion in mandatory spending. That's going to be, significant, and we've got to build on that. It took decades to get us where we are. We've got to be patient in making sure methodically that we work with getting the cuts we need to have done, and all that while we're getting maximum growth, dealing with security, dealing with our military, dealing with the world, on fire under the Biden administration, borders open. Coming from a state like New York, this was a really good start for us, and I feel like people are going to be really happy with it. And we're already hearing, the Democrats are already screaming about it, but the Democrats, I was with a couple of Democrats. I just got to say this just anecdotally. I was with some Democrats last night. So many of the provisions in this bill are bipartisan. One of my Democrat co-sponsors of one of my bills that was passed as part of the One Big Beautiful Bill was like so excited last night when he said, "Oh, I'm so glad we got it in." I was like, "Too bad you didn't vote for it."
Yeah.
And it's like, "Oh, well, we can't vote for a bill because it's President Trump's bill." And it's all about President Trump, not about the people they serve. And so I think we've got to get over this sort of Trump derangement syndrome and look at the policies, not the personalities of the people behind it. And I think there's a lot of really good things in this bill for a lot of people, but we're definitely going to work on more. I'm on the subcommittee on health in Ways and Means, and we're going to work about really bringing the doctor-patient relationship closer, getting government and insurance out of the way so that we can actually get more health care, maybe looking a little bit at the MAHA movement and what they're doing to try to really get a healthier American society and younger people like you guys getting you healthier. So there's a lot more we're going to do in the bill. It's going to come up. We're working on it next, but it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
It's not going to be perfect, but it's not going to be easy.
Well, and maybe Democrats will support you this time,
Possibly.
so we'll see what happens.
A lot of them are happy with the bill.
There you go. One more question. Yeah, so you talked about illegal immigration and the strides we're making in that area. As someone from New York, again, I know you're not in the city, but the city trickles out. It's a safe haven for illegals, or it was.
The whole state is.
Yeah, and so, I mean, are you seeing improvements thus far? I mean, there's been no border crossings in the last couple of months, and so are you seeing that play out right now and work to be better, especially with the deportations as well?
Yeah, well, interestingly enough, I actually represent the northern border of New York. I was one of the first and founding members of the Northern Border Security Caucus. We started this back when I started representing the northern border in my new district, and we realized that almost now 90% of the people on the foreign terror watch list are coming across the northern border because the cartels have figured out how to monetize the northern border because no one was looking. We've got focus on that. Recently at an interview, I was on Fox News a few weeks ago. Kash Patel actually recognized the northern border and the problems that we have there. There's a lot of complications. With the Canadian border, we're getting a lot of input from Canada. They've been very helpful of late. A little pressure from President Trump, but they've been really helpful in making sure that we secure the border there. So the cartels aren't profiting off of human trafficking, which is, by the way, even more successful than drug trafficking. But all those things are happening at our northern border, and we're trying to put a stop to it. But look, they get into the interior of our country. And they come in from New York because it's a sanctuary state, basically, and we have really lax laws that allow these criminal illegal immigrants and gang members to have safe haven in our own state. And the Democrats in New York tend to be protective. Democrats like, Zohran Mamdani, who's a member of the State Assembly, who votes on bills to protect illegal immigrants over the own safety and security of our residents and our own citizens in New York.
Who, by the way, was elected to represent, so it's a little bonkers. But thank you for doing this. I appreciate you.
Yeah, great meeting you. Thanks so much.